Hello. Hey, my name is Tim Bartley and I'm a hypnotherapist. Welcome to the training. You're going to get a lot out of this. You're going to understand everything when we're all done. And I'm going to try to do this real quick so it won't take a real long time. But what we're going to cover today is how your mind really works, because the thing is, panic attacks, it's a mental problem. It's a mental disorder. So it's important to know how your mind works. Number two, I'm going to explain to you what a panic attack is and what it's not. Number three, I'm going to explain to you how you developed it. Like, why did this happen to me? How did it come about? How do panic attacks develop? And then number four, the biggie, I'm going to explain to you exactly how I can clear panic attacks away from people. I'm also going to show you a little testimonial from a woman that had panic attacks for decades. So let me tell you just a little bit about myself. My name is Tim Bartley. I'm a board certified hypnotherapist, and I've been doing this work for 17 years, almost 18. I started way back in 2005, and I have conducted many thousands of sessions. I've helped thousands of people. I'm also certified in an eye movement therapy called accelerated resolution therapy. The problem with panic attacks is it's living and breathing in your subconscious mind. And there's only two ways that you can actually get to the subconscious. That's using hypnosis or eye movement techniques. The one I'm certified in, it's an offshoot of EMDR. So let me first tell you about panic attacks. Panic attacks is not a mental illness. You are not mentally ill. So you can, if you thought you were, you can just get rid of that idea, okay? A panic attack really is you're getting triggered over and over again from a past event. And I'm going to describe that to you in just a little bit. So panic attacks, it is a mental disorder because it's something that's happening mentally, of course, but we can clear it away, no problem, okay? Now, the next thing I want to tell you about is how your mind works. You really have two minds, and they're completely separate from what they do. You have a conscious mind and you have a subconscious mind. Some people refer to that as the unconscious mind. Your conscious mind is the part that's in control while you're awake. It's analytical, problem solving. It's where your short-term memory is, and also something called your critical factor. I want to talk about that for just a second because it's really important. The critical factor is like a shield that will not allow everything to go into the subconscious mind. The critical factor develops between the age of 6 to 7 years old. So before it was developed, everything went straight into the subconscious mind, the good and the bad, and it became a part of you. You got programmed, okay? About 98% of the time, the problem that a person is having, like panic attacks, started at the age of 7 years old or earlier. It started before the critical factor was installed. So that's your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is like 1,000,000 times more powerful. It remembers absolutely every moment of your life. In session, I can actually regress people all the way back to 2 months before they were born, and they'll remember it. So it remembers everything. It's also where your emotions reside. Panic attacks, that's an emotional problem. That's what's really going on. So it's where all your emotions are. It tries to protect you against things that are real or not real. It really doesn't know the difference between the two. And it's extremely powerful. And it's the real you. It's your real personality. Okay? Also with the mind, your brain waves speed up and they slow down all day, every day. You've got beta, alpha, theta, and delta. So right now, if you're not daydreaming and you're paying attention to me, your brain waves are in beta. They're very fast, tightly knit together. If you were to close your eyes for about 10 seconds, your brain waves would then slow down into alpha. Or if you're wide awake but you're having a daydream, that's alpha. If you slow your brain waves down a little bit more, you go into theta. Hypnosis is the theta brainwave state. So I could say I'm gonna place you into hypnosis, or I could just say I'm gonna slow your brain waves down into theta. It's the same thing. Below that is delta. You have fallen asleep. Your brain waves have slowed down so much that your conscious mind shuts off and you fall asleep. So that's really how your mind works. As a hypnotherapist, I'm working directly with the subconscious mind, the inner mind. And let me tell you just a little bit about hypnosis, okay? What the process is I get the person's body really, really relaxed and I get their mind focused. When you do that, you go into the theta brainwave state. During the session, I'll be talking to you. You're going to be talking to me. You remember everything. Some people think they can be controlled. I can't control anybody. I mean, if I said anything that you didn't like, you just open up your eyes and call me a name or something, you know? So you're actually in more control, not less control. And it's a very relaxing state. And even fixing panic attacks is an enjoyable experience, actually. You know, people love it. So we've covered what panic attacks are, what they're not. It's not a mental illness. I told you how your mind works. Now let me describe to you how in the world you developed panic attacks. The way it works, like I said, about 98% of the time, most of the time, you hit an event in childhood. Maybe you're 5 years old, 6 years old, whatever. You hit an event and there's something negative in this event. You might be scared, you might be terrified, you might be really sad, but there's something negative happening in this event. Because the critical factor was not installed yet, that goes directly into your subconscious mind and it becomes a program. Okay? So you hit this negative event. As you progress through life, you hit subsequent events. You hit other events that emotionally felt just like that first event. Every single time you hit one of these subsequent events, that negative emotion in the subconscious mind magnifies. It gets a little bigger, a little bigger, a little bigger, a little bigger. And then the day comes when you hit yet another one. Now that emotion has been kind of pushed over the edge. It's at the critical point. And you develop symptoms. You now have a disorder. That's the way it works. That process, it might only take a year for some people. For other people, it could take decades. But you hit these subsequent events, the emotion gets, it's kind of like think of like a pressure cooker on the stove. You're turning up the heat, you're turning up the heat, you're turning up the heat. And then you turn it up so much, boom, the lid blows off. It's kind of the same thing. That's how we develop panic attacks and a lot of other disorders. I work with like 30 different disorders, although I specialize in panic attacks. But that's how you developed it. You hit this one event. Now that one event, that first event, Technically, in my world, that's called the initial sensitizing event, or ISE for short, the initial sensitizing event. So it just builds and builds and builds. You hit another subsequent event, you're pushed over the edge. You now have panic attacks. You now have a disorder. That's how you developed it, okay? Everybody has these ISEs, everybody does. So that's how the problem came about, okay? Most people, when they hit that last event and they're pushed over the edge and they now have symptoms, then they try to sit down with their thinking conscious mind and figure out, well, why? Why am I having panic attacks? Your conscious mind doesn't know. I mean, you could go to a talk therapist for 10 years. You're never going to figure it out. The conscious mind might not even remember that first event. So that is how we develop panic attacks. Now, here's the most important part that I want to tell you about. How, by you and I working together, how exactly can I clear it away? How can I do that? I'm going to tell you exactly how I do it, okay? Most people, I do all my sessions as distance sessions. Back in 2009, I literally had 3 people that flew into the state to work with me. And all I could think of is how stupid that was, because a hypnosis session is just a conversation. I'm talking to you, you're talking to me. That's all it is. So what I do is I get your body really relaxed, probably more relaxed than you've ever been. I get your mind focused. I use a technique called age regression. I learned about 5 or 6 different ways to do age regression, but through the years, I've been doing this 17 years, I developed my own way to do it. So I created a brand new way to do this, which is much easier for me and much easier for my client. So then, to fix the problem, what I'll have you do is imagine 2 chairs, one on the left and one on the right. And we're going to call forward 2 different parts of you. That's called parts therapy. So I'm going to have you keep staring at the chair on the left. And we're going to pull forward a part of you that absolutely loves you. This part is like your cheerleader. This part has helped you through all the difficulties in your life. Okay? So we're going to pull this part forward. And as I describe the part, and as you're staring at the chair, it's going to come forward and take some kind of image in the chair. And this image, it could be anything. So let's say the image looks like you when you're a child and you're smiling. Okay? So that's the image in the chair. The second thing we want to get is what the emotion is. The emotion with this part's going to be very positive, very uplifting. Then we want to name it like it's a person. So we could call it smiles, we could call it feeling good, we could call it happy. So let's say we call it happy, okay? So now all 3 of us are here. You can see me, I can see you, and happy just showed up. That's kind of a precursor to what I really want to do. So now I'm going to have you stare at the chair on the right. And we are going to call forward the part of you that is responsible for panic attacks. The part of you that is causing the panic attacks. Before the session, I'm going to get a list of your symptoms. And now I'm going to have you stare at the chair on the right, and I'm going to list out these symptoms one by one. And this part's going to come forward. It's going to take some kind of shape in the chair. And about 9 out of 10 people, for the bad part, they say it's something black, like a black witch or a black cat, or it's just black, a black cloud. So now we've got this black cloud in the chair. Now I want to get the emotion with this part. The emotion could be anything. It could be guilt, anger, frustration, depression, anxiety. So we get the feeling of this part, and then we name it. So let's say we call it the devil, okay? So the devil just showed up. The next thing I'm going to do is I have the devil use your vocal cords to talk to me. And I'm going to ask it a series of questions to find out what the heck's going on. Like, are you here to punish or protect? What times do you come forward to do this? What are your thoughts and your beliefs about my client? When I snap my fingers, a number will pop into your mind. That's how old client was when you first showed up. 6. And I ask a few more questions. Now we do the age regression part. So what I do is I instruct the devil in a moment to get up and take your hand and take you all the way back to the very first moment that this part ever showed up in your life. The very first event, the very first situation. This is the initial sensitizing event, the ISE. And I find it every freaking time. So, devil, go ahead, take her hand, take her all the way back to that very first event, the very first time you showed up. And when you get there, just say, we're here. In a couple seconds, you'll say, we're here. And then I'll ask you, are you inside or outside? Is it daytime or nighttime? Are you alone or with people? Oh, you're with people. What are they talking about? And then you'll tell me. Most importantly, here it is. How do you feel? At this moment, you're going to tell me something negative. You know, maybe you're terrified. I just did a session where this little girl was in her bathroom at night and somebody was outside her window staring in at her and she was terrified. So we get the negative emotion. Then I go through a procedure. I'm not going to go through it right now, but what I do is I change the negative into positive. That's what we do. We change the negative emotion into positive. So now instead of you feeling negative, you feel calm, you feel relaxed, you feel secure, and you feel loved. What that does is it erases the trigger. It removes the trigger. We just removed the trigger. Now we're going to come on back to the current time and place, count of 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I'll say, well, I can see you here. Can you see me here? Yeah, I see you here. Hey, there's Happy. Can you see Happy? Yeah, there's Happy. Look to the chair on the right. Anybody there? No. You notice the devil didn't follow us back, did it? No. We just fixed the panic attacks. Right there. We just got rid of your panic attacks. We just removed the trigger. We took the negative feelings, flipped it over to very positive, secure feelings. And you will never, ever again have another panic attack. I've done this so many times. Okay? That is exactly how we're going to fix it. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, right? So what we did is we kind of got in a time machine and we went back to the exact moment that we had to go to and we cleaned it up. We went back to the trigger. What's been triggering you to have panic attacks, and we just removed it. We erased it. We deleted it. It's gone. Just like that. Pretty cool. All right. So that's some good information for you. Now I'm going to put up, I want you to watch this little testimonial video. This is a woman, I think she's like 60 or in her early 60s. She started having panic attacks when she was 18 years old. And this is a very extreme example of the worst panic attacks you could ever have. Okay, she's had panic attacks for decades. The last 2 or 3 years, and she'll mention it in the video here, that she was having 4 panic attacks every day. One in the middle of the night that would wake her up and make her vomit every night. And she hadn't left her house in like 2 or 3 years because of the panic attacks. So I want you to watch this and check it out, and then we will talk on the other side. Hello. Hi, my name's Tim Bartley. I'm a board certified hypnotherapist, and I've been doing this work since 2005. And we're here today to talk to Elaine. She was a client of mine, came to me to work on her panic attacks. So just wanted to put this little video together. So Elaine, I guess the first place, a good place to start is, I know you were having panic attacks. What were those like for you?
It was debilitating. I've had issues with panic attacks since I was 18 years old, but in the last couple of years, it's gotten to the point where I wasn't able to get out of my house and I wasn't able to just function properly. And I would start waking up in the middle of the night having panic attacks and not being able to get rid of them. And that's why I reached out to you.
How often did this occur? Was it like once a week, once a day?
Oh, no, it was multiple times throughout the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And I remember you saying like the ones at night would actually make you vomit. Is
Yes.
that correct? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, they were so bad.
Okay, so you've been having these since you were 18. You're 19 now, so 1 year, right?
I wish.
Okay, so that's a long time, but they just seem to get a little worse as time went on.
Yes. Yes, they got increasingly worse.
They got more severe, or
More severe and more often.
more often. Okay.
Yeah, like I have an underlying anxiety in my body.
Mhm.
And it's just, it would build up to the panic attacks faster and stronger
Okay.
than before.
And I'm guessing that probably affected your day-to-day life quite a bit.
Very much so. Very much. I became a hermit at home.
Okay, well that's no good. Well, we work together, of course. And
Yes.
how are you doing now?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. I have not had a single panic attack since our age regression session.
Well, that's
Um,
awesome. That's awesome. That's really, really good to hear.
It's
Yeah.
given me a new life.
Yeah. Well, obviously I'm a hypnotherapist, so we did this via hypnosis. And before you worked with me, did you know much about hypnosis or not really?
Actually, I had been hypnotized before to quit smoking.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mhm.
So you weren't too nervous coming in to work with me, or?
No, not too nervous. I was curious.
Okay.
I was curious.
And then in our sessions, as we work together, do you think that was a difficult process, an easy process, somewhere in the middle?
It's very easy process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it is, but people watching this, probably a lot of people don't know anything about hypnotherapy or really how we develop problems like panic attacks.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. Yeah. And just to tell the people watching, how we develop anxiety and panic attacks is you're actually being triggered from a past event. So there's a process that's called age regression, where we really target what's going on, the symptoms, the emotions, and we go back in time. We get like in a time machine, we go back in time and find that event that the person's been triggering from. And when we get there, obviously it's usually there's something negative going on. So we change the negative to positive, and then the triggered event is now a positive event instead of a negative one. And how it really develops is you hit this first event, and as you go through time, you hit subsequent events throughout your life. And every time you hit one that feels like that first event, in the subconscious, the emotion just gets a little bigger, a little bigger. It magnifies, and then boom, you hit one. It pushes you over the edge, and all of a sudden you have symptoms. And then your thinking conscious mind steps in, tries to figure it out, and the conscious mind has no idea. It might not even remember that first event at all. So that's kind of how it develops. So all right, Elaine. So life's getting better than it was.
Yes. Yes. I also struggle with anxiety and depression, and both of those in this process have gotten a lot better.
Well, that's really good news. That's really, really good news. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on and talking to me.
Yes.
And just trying to get the word out there to people. So, yep, I really enjoyed us working together, and I'm glad things are going much better.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Elaine. Have a great day.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Pretty cool, huh? She got her life back. She got her life back. She can leave her house now, and she has not had a single panic attack since we worked together. Very, very cool. And I'm really happy for her. So let's talk about panic attacks and how it's really been messing up your life. They are so dysfunctional. You never know when they're going to hit. You could be in your car. You could be at the store. You could be in a meeting. You could be at work. They're very, very disruptive. Would you like to live without panic attacks? Because I guarantee you 100% that we can do that. Panic attacks are very costly. What are your panic attacks costing you? Your sanity, your state of being, your security? Is it affecting you at work? Is it affecting your relationships? Is it making it difficult to sleep? Because it's a pretty big deal having a panic attack. It is. It's a horrible disorder. It's a horrible disorder. It just can ruin somebody's life, just like in that testimonial. She couldn't even leave her house. I mean, how horrible is that? So it's costing you to keep continuing your life having panic attacks. Now, I'm a professional hypnotherapist. This is what I do for a living. So obviously there is a fee to work with me. So I would like to make you an offer, okay? What my offer is the fee, your investment to work with me, to totally 100% clear away your panic attacks. You'll never have another one. What the fee is, the investment, it's $847, and I can take a debit card, a credit card, or PayPal. And on PayPal, they actually have this 6-month, it's kind of like a loan. They give you the money and there's no interest. If you pay it off in 6 months, there's no interest at all, which is pretty cool. But I can do debit card, credit card, or PayPal. And the process is very simple. After you watch this video, and we're just about done, there is a link directly under the video where you can click to go into my calendar, or in the menu bar, it says book a session. You can click up there as well. But if you want to get rid of your panic attacks, if you want to have a normal, sane life, If you are ready for that change, then what I would like you to do is go ahead and click on the button below the video or up in the menu bar, book a session, and you can pick a day and a time. Sessions are usually about an hour, sometimes a little bit longer. I'll have a few more instructions for you before we start, but basically you just need to be in a quiet place. I don't want people sitting up in a chair. Most people lay in bed, and we do this through the telephone. So you'll put your phone like right here on your chest, you're laying down, just put it on speakerphone. That's how most everybody does it. And then I'm going to give you some more instructions. The one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to think. We want to get as far away from that thinking conscious mind as possible. So the offer for you to have your life back, to regain your life, to never again have another panic attack, it's $847. For that amount, I will give you up to 5 sessions. Is it going to take 5 sessions? Probably not. I usually fix people in 1 or 2 sessions. It's a very fast process. But I'll give you up to 5 sessions. And there's no doubt about it, within those 5 sessions or less, you're not going to have panic attacks anymore. Wouldn't that be great? So go ahead, click the button below or click book a session in the menu bar and pick a day, pick a time, and I will call you on the date of your session and we'll jump in and we'll get her done. Thank you very much for your time today. Have a good day. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for coming in. And I hope this information really helped you. Take care.